But okay, just opening comments. We coming into a game like this, I felt like we had a pretty good week of practice. I felt like the morale of the team was pretty high. So it was a disappointment to see the way that we came out and the game opened up. We're relying on our defense to set the tone for us, and it's now been 2 straight weeks where we've given up touchdowns on our first 2 drives, and that's not going to go away. The defense is the strength, will continue to be the strength of this football team, and we need to step up and make plays. For the most part, we did a good job of stopping the run again today, but we continue to get beat in these critical down and distances, 3rd down and long, 3rd down and medium. The 4th downs obviously was what got us the critical 4th downs in the first quarter, and we can't lose those situations. And while we stepped up and we were able to get a turnover, I don't know if I've ever been a part of any team in all my years of coaching that has forced enough turnovers, interceptions, which we're doing a great job of this year, certainly much better than a year ago, but we still have 0 return yards. We haven't scored a point on defense all season long. We have not returned a fumble or a kickoff or a interception 1 yard on the season at least. And so while it's great that we are getting these turnovers, when we are giving them up on offense for the 2nd straight week in a row and for the 3rd time this season, we have given up a fumble or an interception that's been returned for a touchdown. And that's inexcusable. But just to finish on the defensive side of the ball before we go over the offense, there were certainly some nice stops, some plays that were made. We've got to improve our consistency on these critical down and distances and continue to create plays that can allow us to either score on defense or give us better field position on the offensive side of the ball. The offense, obviously, it was a terrible day for the offense. We'll start by putting that on the coaches. Start with myself, and I'll lay the blame with that. We are trying to do a couple of things. We want to create a culture of physicality, particularly on our offense. Say, look, we want to run the football. This is what we need to do, and we need to get better at it. We understand that we have an awful lot of injuries up front that are making that difficult for us to do, with Nate Kahneman down and Jones down. We lost Houston Underwood in the first half to I believe, a concussion. So it's been a terrible year just in terms of being able to go out and have the same 5 guys gel up front. And one of the failures as a coaching staff that we and I have not done a good job is we're trying to put ourselves in the best possible situation. And we're probably overcoaching. We're trying to help those guys have success, and we're probably getting a little bit too fancy with what we're asking our offensive linemen to do. We want a culture that says, look, we will run the football. We got a lot of young guys up front, and we want to teach them that, hey, this is what this offense is going to be all about. There's always going to be a threat. We don't have to win by exclusively running the football, but we want a balanced offense, threat of the run, threat of the pass, and we've got to be able to control the line of scrimmage. And today, we failed time and time again to do that. They did a great job, outstanding scheme by their defensive coordinator and their coaching staff, changing up their blitzes, being aggressive, moving their front, doing things that our young guys just couldn't handle. It was probably less of an example of getting beat physically like we had against Dayton and the week prior against Drake, and more of just getting beat with quickness and movement, and guys blitzing and us not being able to put a body on a body. There were several times that we were so close. And we knew this going in, that this was the type of defense was going to gamble and come after us, and if we could break through that front line, there were going to be big runs. And unfortunately, we only had 2 on the day, one by Jake Hudson in the 4th quarter, one by Jared. And aside from those 2 big rushes, we really failed to crack the line of scrimmage and had so many negative plays, which can't happen. And the negative plays are coming from a couple of times they had some great calls on defense, and a couple of times we had plays that on paper are blocked up fairly well, but you have to go and you have to execute them, and we weren't able to properly execute those plays. We certainly failed in terms of pass protection as well. The blitz certainly got to us. We knew going in that was going to be a challenge. At times we had some good protection. I thought there were some good moments on offense. The 2-minute drive at the end of the first half was outstanding, going 75 yards in just over a minute. Was a credit to the offensive line doing a good job, and the quarterback, Ryan Clark, making some great throws and some big catches. So there was certainly a bright spot there to finish the first half, and a good drive to finish the game in the second half. But I think that probably is more where we're at as a football team, to see that the best success that we could have running the football came against their second unit. And that's really kind of where things are at right now. We are not performing offensively at the level that a first-team offense should be. We're performing at the level of a second-team offense right now. And in many places, yes, we do have second-teamers who are playing for us, but this is, the last third of the season. There aren't many teams out there that haven't had injuries and haven't gone through adversity. Special teams, moving on to them. Again, we turned the football over on special teams yet again. Legend is an outstanding athlete. I think he's got a great career ahead of him. It was just a case of there was a lot of wind out there. The wind held the ball up. It was bouncing. Legend just trying to do something, trying to make a play, and just trying to do too much. And fumble. Our defense had just come off of their best stop of the second half, and we give them new life. And those are things that, again, partly you learn from experience. Partly he should know that going in, and he's a smart enough guy to know what he did was wrong. But he's trying to make a play, and I never want to fault a player for trying to be aggressive right now, because we like that type of mentality. So while I was disappointed with the turnover, I put my arm around him and I said, hey, look, I understand exactly where you're coming from. And we always try to preach to guys, if you're going to make a mistake, make it full speed. Let's not make a mistake because we're tentative or we're just unsure of ourselves, and we freeze up. And so, again, bright spots throughout the day, not nearly enough as we need to if we're going to be able to compete. I'm very grateful that we have the bye week coming up for us right now. We have a number of players who have concussions that hopefully can come back. We have a number of players who were sick, either with the flu. We've lost a couple of players to mono. So we're going through a tough time right now, and it's great to have that week off. I don't think there's any doubt that it's going to be a spirited week of practice coming up, a chance to improve on the basics, the fundamentals of the game. And despite the disappointment, again, I can't reiterate the optimism and the faith that I have in our players. We know that a lot of the problems that we have are not going to be fixed overnight, but that doesn't mean we're not going to try. I told our players we're going to do everything that we can to get ready for Butler in 2 weeks. We're not going to get overwhelmed by looking at, hey, here are the 1,000 things that we can do to get better, and that's too much. No, we're going to work on one thing at a time, one meeting at a time, one period of practice at a time, one rep. And if the entire football team can come together like we did at the end of last season and learn during the off week, not give up their belief in one another, and find ways to get bigger, stronger, faster, more confident in the schemes, the talent in some of these players will continue to show through. And I have 100% faith in that. And as frustrating as it is coming out of a day like today, I'm still really optimistic about the future of Valpo football.
Question for Coach and for Jared. How big of a turning point was, you stepped out, it would have been a touchdown, it would have been, I think, 21-14 at that point. 2 plays later, you fumble, they go down, and Did they score, I think, a field goal, right? And it was 24-7, so instead of 21-14, you're down 3 scores. How big of a threat at that point was it? Doesn't guarantee you guys would have came back.
I would have thought that it was a very good drive for us. It was a good drive coming out, first drive of the second half. We made a couple of adjustments at halftime. We had done a couple of things nice on that drive, running the football and throwing the football with play action. Jared had a great play, and he stepped out. I saw it. I was right there, and it was a good call by the official. It would have been a huge play. That's right, but we don't dwell on those things. Would it have changed the course of the game? It may have. We don't know. The point is, what we learned is from that drive is, again, we had a freshman wide receiver who had very poor ball security, did not secure the football. Our quarterback failed us on that play, did not execute it properly, and did not go through the proper cadence. So those are the things that we're looking at. We're not going to dwell on the fact that, hey, it was a great run by Jared, and he just put his foot out of bounds. Maybe if we had an extra foot or 2 of sideline, it would have been a touchdown. We don't think twice about that. The things that we're working on as a coaching staff is the play 3 plays later, the turnover that stopped what was a really good drive.
Jared, what was the mood coming out in the third quarter? Because, like I said, you guys had finished the first half with some success after struggling a good quarter and a half, and then that play with you that still gave you a first down. I mean, what was the
mood coming out of the half? We were staying positive. We knew that with the right plays, that if we scored off the first drive coming out of the half, that it was going to be a changed game. After that first down, I thought that the momentum was changing, and unfortunately the fumble happened, but I thought it was a good play.
Alex, for you guys, first 2 drives, and you guys didn't seem to get down. First 2 drives, they score on 4th down. You talked about the 4th down situations. Yeah, you guys were, like you were able to do, they were on their way to maybe thinking they were going to, score all 40 points in the first quarter. You guys seemed to have stepped up, and, what was the move for you guys after those first 2 drives? What did you and your teammates say to each other? Because, again, it's 14-0, and they just, offense had gone 3 and out, and, first drive was about 9 or 10 minutes. They really kept you guys on the field.
Yeah, I could see younger teams being more disappointed in that and just kind of being discouraged the rest of the game. But being 4 years here, and most of the football players on the defensive team are older than the freshman offensive players. We know that the first 2 drives don't define anything. It doesn't matter. You can only score 7 points at a time, so it's not like they're scoring 40 points every drive. So when you have that mentality of you've got 60 more minutes or 45 more minutes left to play after the first quarter, you know that anything's possible. So with that, especially with the prior week that we had against Dayton, they did the exact same thing. It was a little more hurried up in Dayton's sense. But Stetson, they called our number the first 2 drives, and we made some fatal mistakes on 3rd down especially, which led them to keep going. But we corrected those mistakes, and we knew those would be correctable when we came off the field and got our heads in the game, and that's why we saw the output after the first quarter.
It was like you guys didn't get a lot of time off the field. But you were, like you said, you didn't really wilt, and you spent a lot of time on the field. What was going through your mind on that? Just trying to make the plays, maybe like he said, force the fumble. And you guys did get the one fumble, right? Scoville had the 1 fumble recovery.
Yeah. So every play is just a new play to me. I don't really care what happened to the play prior. Don't really care what happens in the future. So just as long as I play the play in front of me and kind of take a deep breath before every play, just relax. That's my biggest concern, really, is just relaxing, playing the right football, and not getting uptight and not playing my disciplined football that I should be playing out there. So I guess the leadership and the experience we have as a defense, we all knew that. We all knew that 3rd downs are very important, but if they score on this drive, that we've got plenty of chances left, but we need to, hurry up and get ourselves off the field because we need the offense help.
As a senior, what do you do in the bye week? Obviously this loss is Dayton. You had them there till the 3rd quarter today. You guys made a comeback. And what do you as a senior? How do you step forward with these kids? Because I think you have 2 games left, 2 or 3 games left, and to close this season out successfully as possible.
Yeah, it's not really back to drawing board. It's more just press the pedal. A lot of it is hitting the sled, tackling sled, and the 5-man sled out there, getting our physicality back. But with the people that are down or people that are getting out there, that they need to get back in the training room and get healthy because there's obviously 2 weeks left to our next game. So plenty of time to get stronger in that mindset.